what we need. In my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. The Democratic Party is diverse, and it should be reflected as so in our leadership.
Right now, Simone Sanders is a senior advisor to the person that I believe is the next president of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
Biden's 1994 crime bill, while implementing sweeping gun control, also helped fuel mass incarceration with financial incentives to keep people behind bars.
This idea that the crime bill generated mass incarceration, it did not generate mass incarceration.
I like the idea they keep in jail longer. I'm the guy that wrote the bill requiring federal judges to keep people in jail 100% of the time for which they're sentenced.
I signed a bill that made the problem worse, and I want to admit it.
Why is it Vice President Biden admitting what we're hearing from the former president?
Well, look, I think we can go back to Vice President Biden's comments.
We must take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street.
Is it now
those are going to come?
Now the campaign's position that the crime bill did contribute to mass incarceration?
Victor, I think the vice president, his comments speak for themselves.
Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized.
Look, Victor, if we play the whole clip, what he also said was, his comment was, what he also said was that the majority of folks that are incarcerated were incarcerated at the state level.
Folks, let's get something straight. 92 out of every 100 prisoners behind the bars are in a state prison, not a federal prison.
It incentivized, it offered billions of dollars to build new correctional facilities if states would increase the percentage of convicted violent offenders.
So I'm all for tougher enforcement.
Increase the average prison time.
Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond the pale. And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society.
I think many people will tell you across the country, Victor, black folks included, that the crime bill and the reaction to what was happening in the early 90s.
I had spent years writing what became known as the Biden crime bill. The Biden crime bill. The Biden crime bill.
What was happening in the early 90s, the reaction was an overcorrection to a very real issue.
Biden crime bill is before us, calls for the death penalty for 51 offenses. A wag in the newspaper recently wrote that something to the effect that Biden has made it a death penalty offense for everything but jaywalking.
Did this bill not incentivize putting more people in jail and keeping them there longer?
Victor, I am not going to sit here and tell you the crime bill was perfect.
We changed the law so that if you are arrested and you are a drug dealer, under our forfeiture statutes, the government can, take everything you own. Everything from your car to your house, your bank account. They can take everything.
What you're describing was an overcorrection. There was a reach. Some folks went too far.
The truth is, every major crime bill since 1976 that's come out of this Congress, every minor crime bill has had the name of the Democratic senator from the state of Delaware, Joe Biden, on that bill.
At the end of the day, Victor, at the end of the day, no one is suggesting that what has happened, what has ravaged communities over the last 27 years does not need to be fixed.
Bobby Rush, member of Congress, said the other day, "I'm ashamed that I voted for the 94 crime bill." You ashamed of that bill?
Not at all. And in fact, I drafted the bill.